Welcome back, Chiefs Kingdom. I know that you're happy to be on the positive side of a ball game. This way, that way, or, up.
Yeah.
That's what I'm going to go with, right? We have a lot to talk about. There's a lot of meaning here. And quite frankly, it's like a new day for some players. We're going to get into it. Welcome to RGR Football. Welcome back. I know you guys are a little bit happier than last time. Dan's pretty happy too. How are you, Dan?
Oh, I'm doing well. It's nice to have you back. Thank you for saving me from having to do this on a regular basis for now. Because
I had a lot of fun. You held down the fort really, really well, folks. Give Dan a hand because I needed a break.
Yeah, I'm glad that we were able to give you a break. And no, I had a lot of fun. This was much better than my return after the Bills game last week, and I know that we want to talk about how, yes, the discrepancy between the Buffalo Bills and the Washington football team are very different things.
Right.
But in the NFL, when you win a game and you dominate the game pretty much front to back, except I won't say front to back, when you dominate a game from the halftime to the end of the game, then that's good for them. And I think that they were able to find a way to do that, and that's really all that matters.
Well, more, and you're exactly right. But more to your point, like when you're stepping on shooting yourself in the foot, all the time. And you still did it a little bit today. You stubbed your toe a few times, right?
A lot.
But you didn't hack the damn thing off because that's what they've been doing. So it's a step forward on the offensive side. There's a lot of little takeaways. My notes are pretty lengthy for this one, but like just top row headline. If you were writing a piece, what was the number one thing for you today?
For me, it's the defense. And I know, like I said, we talk about the discrepancy between the two teams that they've just played. But Washington has the ability to put numbers on the board. I know that, Taylor Heineke is not the prototypical quarterback. They can't do a lot of things dynamically with him. But Terry McLaurin's no bum. I know that he was kind of hurting in this game. They have a lot of pieces on offense that can move the ball well. And I think Ricky Seals-Jones reminded everybody that he's still very much alive, even though Andy Reid refused to use him last year, which was all that fun little thing that they did. So the defense being able to actually, outside of the breakdown, which was Tyrann Mathieu went crazy about, which he had every right to, the 3rd and 16, you give up a huge screenplay. Like no one's there, no one's doing anything. You have Neiman getting pushed because he can't get off blocks. We all know that. And then you have Ricky Seals-Jones. We forgot who that guy is. We're all going to bite on this fake down here, and we're just going to leave everybody behind us wide open. Nobody was there. So outside of those, I think they did a really good job of keeping a lot of things in front of them, and for the most part, handling their assignments, which was one of the biggest issues they had all season.
Yeah, the run defense from the linebacker level still broke down a lot, but it was a little bit better. I think, honestly, somebody got the lead out of Jaron Reed's pants.
Somebody, yeah.
Because I think he protected the linebacker level a little bit better. CV Keys, thank you for the super chat. How about those? And he's got a two-parter. He's making me work now, right? Thank you, Stevie.
Thank you, Stevie.
Folks, you can support Stevie as well as us. And if you guys missed Roguehead Huddle, it came out on Friday. That's where he and Gooch go at it. About their opposing views. And if you haven't seen that, I think you guys will really dig it. If you would like and sub and hit the bell notification, you'll know when those go up. And if you want one of these, I can make sure that happens if you just go over to the RGR store. I'm pretty excited about this. While I was away, I had some creative moments. So I worked on some new designs, and I have a couple of things coming, and you can get all that if I can find the right thing. What are you laughing about?
Lots of drinking will have creative moments coming up.
There was that. I was on vacation. I didn't have to be, safe for kids and that kind of stuff. But members, you will still get all the regular. In fact, I might even start doing a little bit more of the point blank what I say to my wife when she's sitting on the couch with me watching these games. You might get a little bit of that in the member section, because that language is not comfortable for a family safe channel like this. If you want to become a member, you can click down under Dan, and that's how you can get the behind the scenes and the extra stuff, as well as Gooch's series, as Aaron's series. The Mod Father is here tonight. I think you guys know him. Aaron's doing his picks. We didn't get him up today in time, but you guys have seen the series, and that will continue. So you get all that extra when you join the memberships. That said, if you would like to support us in any of those ways, we will say thank you a million times. We will also thank you for the super chats as everyone has started. And see, Aaron's even working together. See if you had another one. And guys, we are going to try to get to all your super chats, and we're going to go through our notes and our takeaways. I know that you did a quick video on the RSJ Thunderdam blames Thornhill. Yeah, I had several people tweet at me, and that's insane. And you know what? I love Danilo. He has his own takes. That is not what is going on in there. And I'll tell you the one takeaway, and you guys will see it in that video. If Juan Thornhill is supposed to have the single high, he's doing a back pedal to get depth between the hashes. That is not at all what he did. No. Someone broke down on the other side. Was there supposed to be a rotation? Could you have said he was supposed to rotate the other way? Possibly, but Tyrann didn't rotate high either. So that's what the giveaways are.
Yeah, if you watch the play, it was a fake. There was a pump to the screenplay, which they all got beat on. So you see both the corner outside and Neiman both look at it, and they both step at it. So for me, Neiman was supposed to keep getting depth, and since the eyes are in the backfield looking at the quarterback and what he's doing, you have both the corner and a linebacker biting on this fake screen to go and let both the wide receiver and Ricky Seals-Jones get free. That's what I saw.
And people like to yell at me last week on the pregame show on Locked On, and folks, you can watch that here or listen on podcasts or whatever. And I said, hey, remember Ricky Seals, he's got athletic ability. He didn't make it here because of the depth chart.
Yeah.
But this team has a lot of trouble covering tight ends. And I done warned you, he won my fantasy game for me today in the Dynasty League. And for all you guys that are here that are in my league, yes, I'm still number one. Don't forget it. And that's not going to change anytime soon either. Now, that said, this is nothing against Danilo. He gets to have his own opinion. I just know from that situation, when I've called those kind of rotational defenses, that's where it's meant to be. Is there a 2% chance that Danilo's right and it should have been one going the other way? There is. So, only Steve Spagnuolo knows. And from reactions from what I said online last week, I don't think Steve's going to be calling me anytime soon. So, nor should he. And those of you who said a lot of nice things while I was gone, I appreciate the sentiment. I cannot go call an NFL defense. I do not have that experience. But I can give you some takeaways. I can give you a couple of observations that might help in the end. And that's all that it is. And Gooch, you have a very good point. And thank you for the support, as always. Supporting the channel that you're helping run. I mean, you're killing me, Smalls. And yes, that is a direct
Always
quote.
Doing it.
Oh, God, here we go. It doesn't cover up all the little. There's still a lot of little things.
Yeah, sure.
But here's the big takeaway for me. Like you said, the defense played better today. And for me, it all comes back to, and I said this post game, we do the Locked On Chiefs podcast immediately post game with Matt Jarek and Chris and I. And I said then, and as I've kind of thought about it more, like even more so, the play of Snead, the play of Fenton in particular. I know he didn't get his head around on that one. He should have. It was ticky-tack to call it PI, and I know a lot of people were saying that we got lucky. I don't know that it was that lucky, but it's an argument to be had, and that's perfectly fine. But I think everybody played, and in my opinion, stepped up a little bit because they knew they had Juan over the top of them, and they knew that they could take a little bit more aggression, a little bit more physicality because they had someone covering their ass, and they haven't had that for quite a while.
You could see multiple times him stepping up on some run plays. Like he flashes into the screen multiple times in this game because he can get downhill from his deep safety position. And when you have that ability to be confident in the guys that are behind you, and you know that Mathieu was doing the same thing, he was flashing all over the field in this game too. He's confident in who he has back there. One gives you that confidence that you don't have to be 5 to 10 yards off the line of scrimmage because you might get beat over top if Dan Sorensen or someone else is behind you and you're busy rotating. If you have a safety that can cover sideline to sideline, they can recover a little bit downhill too. You can take some chances, like I said, be a little more physical at the line of scrimmage, and just overall be able to trust that there's someone that can make a play on the ball if it goes over your head. And that's, at the end of the day, that's something they haven't had until this game. And when the snap counts come out, I'm going to be grinning because I know that Juan Thornhill played most of this game, if not all of it. And I think it made 100% an impact on how the defense felt playing this game.
I agree. And it hit all sides. And Gucci, you have a very good point. Again, thanks for another super chat here, you guys. And remember, folks, we're not going to hit every question tonight. I'm seeing more questions. So I'm going to try to get to them. But the full Q&A is tomorrow night at 6 Central. That's when we do. You can see up there in the corner. That's when we do the Q&A every week on Mondays. So I'll try to hit what we can tonight and fit it into the notes. But that's exactly what I said, is just having that over the top allowed everybody to have a little bit more comfort. And I thought Dan played better when he was in. They brought him in as a nickel backer, which, like we've been talking about, is exactly what he can do well.
Yeah.
Did he get run on still? Yes. So did Ben Neiman. That they can't fix that until they fix the personnel. But this was the best version of deploying the people that you have in spaces that allow them to make plays. What did you think it did for the defensive front? I'm interested in your take on that.
I'm not so sure that Thornhill had impact on the defensive front. I think that Willie Gay had impact on the defensive front multiple times. He's coming down too. It takes a little bit of pressure off of them because you can actually rush 5 with Willie Gay coming down to take one of those, those offensive linemen. I think that Willie helps the mindset and the determination factor. Like they played a little bit harder and faster and tried to get after a little bit more because he brings that effort level. Mike Dana stepped up. Jerron Reed stepped up. Tershawn Wharton, like everybody in this game on the defensive line, including Frank Clark at times. I think he was a much more effort in this game. And when it comes down to it, when you're taking 10 to 50% off over the course of a game, it will definitely impact the way that it not only appears in the stat sheet, but the way the entire defense can play. And if you take that up, I think that's one thing that Matthew's been so frustrated with, is why he gets so frustrated, is because the effort level. If he's out there running around doing everything he can to cover up with some of the holes that he can, and you have guys down in front of you that are just kind of like taking plays off, so, oh, that's not going my way, I'm just going to leave it go the other way. You have to understand your responsibility to show that you're still playing this game. And I know that I'm sitting here again, like I said last week, I'm sitting in a game chair talking about football, and I'm not on a field, but it comes down to effort. And I've seen a lot of effort being taken off the last 5 weeks. In this game, I didn't see nearly as much of that. And that's a huge boost to the defensive mindset and confidence going forward.
I agree with you. And I thought the front in particular, what I was getting at before, is with Juan back there, I think it slowed a few things down. I think it let that pressure get a little bit farther. We didn't see anybody like ripping off the edge or nothing, but they collapsed the pocket really well. And they played as a front very well in just compressing Heineke. And I think that really paid off, but you're right. Getting lucky is important. D-Money, thank you for your super chat. We really appreciate it. And I'm glad that you bring up Fortson. He's at the top of my notes too. My second note today was Fortson with the huge play is going to lift this whole team. Yeah. And I agree that happened. It sucks that he got hurt later, but I think that was the spark that at least kept them in it, because the second quarter sucked.
It was awful.
It was terrible. If you didn't have that little bit of lift in the first, I don't know that they would have got going that well, even with Darrell playing, I think, at nearly peak Darrell for me.
Yeah, and the thing about the whole dichotomy of that second quarter is usually the Chiefs pick a quarter and like they can completely dominate it. That's been happening for the last few years. You guys remember against the Raiders a few years ago where they just scored 3 or 4 touchdowns in a quarter. This year, it's been one quarter absolutely sinks their ship. It brings them down. You have the first, you go down and score a touchdown. You're moving the ball, then all of a sudden, Tyreek Hill doesn't catch the ball. And it goes through his hands once again into another defender's hands for an interception. As soon as that kind of stuff happens, the trains goes off the rails for this offense. Like they just go downhill. And then that spark, there's always need a spark from someone. And Jody Forston's been a guy who comes in and just sparks this offense. Whenever he touches the ball, he's doing something well with it, or he's blocking really well and opening up a play. So he brings this undocumented feel and spark to momentum for an offense. He brings it with himself, the way that he plays the game. And I respect what he did to get to this stage. I'm so gut-wrenched that he's hurt and done for the season. That's a guy who will be back. I can tell you that much.
I guarantee it. And I agree with you. It's terrible to see, but if anybody's going to come back from him, it's going to be him, because not only did he make the leap from practice squad to the 53, but he's impacting plays. Yeah. He's impacting games. Yep. He will be back. He will be the tight end too. And I thought Noah Gray had a couple of moments today too. We'll get to him a little bit later. Good question here. First, yes, Stevie, you guys get a special icon when you make it to a year. So congrats. Gooch is doing a little bit of everything here, and he thanks you as well, Stevie.
Thank you.
Thank you both for contributing. It's been a really nice trip around here lately to have such core members of this community start to contribute to the channel as well. It's been really cool for me. And Dan, being honest with you, the only consequences is you are a more knowledgeable football fan. That's what happens.
If I can bring a little bit of honesty and knowledge to the channel. As much as I may say it, I'm doing a service for you and myself.
And you know what? I'm going to take a little bit of that away as well. I know you guys that I've been a little bit reluctant to put some of my more harsh takes out there because I'm not here to run down players that are in the process of evolving. But even while I was away, I ran into a guy named Chip. Chip, I hope that you see this. Another Chiefs fan at the resort that I happened to be at.
That's awesome.
Sat down, has been on the channel before. That was really interesting to see in a whole other country. But he's like, how come you don't hammer people? And I'll tell you, the two reasons are because I don't know the calls and I don't know how they're being coached. So I can't tell you that Anthony Hitchens did this wrong on this play. I can't tell you that Josh Gordon didn't get involved because he doesn't know enough of the playbook. I can get to those points, but I don't know that for 100%. So I can't call people out like that. Yeah. I do make this promise to you, though, after talking it over with several people, is I will be a little bit more straightforward with where I think those gaps are, just so you guys all know that I'm not trying to say that I know it all. I'm going to try to make sure that I give you a little bit more of the honest question that I would ask if I was able to talk to the staff. And by the way, guys, whenever you feel like it, just let me know. I'm happy to have a conversation with anyone on the staff.
Yep.
I'm a little jealous. There are channels on Locked On that do get to talk to the staffs of the teams that they covered. The Chiefs just aren't one of those teams. Yeah, it must be great. I don't know what that's like myself, but I think it is the learning process though for Josh Gordon. I'll be interested to see. I'm guessing that his snap count went up a little bit.
A little bit, yeah.
He was not targeted though that I'm aware of.
I think he was, but it was on a play that got penalized.
Oh, was it? Okay.
I think.
I didn't see an official target.
I watched him miss a block though. Just blatantly missed a block on a screen pass. So that was
the screen game sucks, and I have that in here in my notes multiple times.
It's bad.
I don't know if somebody's telltailing it. I don't know if it's just coordination with the offensive line because they're all still so new, working together. Some of those hints that get out, they got sniffed out a lot, so something's giving it away, I think is what it comes down to. I think Josh will be fine. I think they do need to make a concerted effort to get him into the game plan here in the next week or two because they're going to need him down the line, to tell you the truth.
They will, especially with some of the injuries that they're sustaining right now.
Yeah, for sure. Big Jack said, and thank you for the support. I'm loving what we're seeing from Fenton. Why is he not starting? He needs to be out there. Also, it sucks to see Jody go down. What's your take on Fenton?
So Rashad Fenton has 100% locked down the starting position at outside corner for me when Charvarius Ward is healthy. I think he has played above what Ward has brought to you, not only this season, but last year. He's got a bit more upside. I know that he didn't get his head around right there, but he played the hands extremely well of the receiver, what he's supposed to do if he's in that position and he doesn't think he can get his head around. He's a physical guy who kind of also feeds that kind of effort level and physicality into this defense. I personally think he should be starter from this point on.
Yeah. I wasn't going to say Ward because I think Ward brings a few things that Ward
maybe Ward takes Hughes out. So maybe Hughes still no longer plays and they do it that way.
That's where I'm at looking in it. I think the top three are Snead, Ward, and Fenton. You guys, we've been calling it that way since OTAs.
Yeah, Fenton's been really good.
Instinctual, aggressive. If that one play hadn't been wiped out by penalty, he created a turnover. You know what I mean? Like he's doing the things that you need him to do. He's shown propensity to do. And that's not to belittle Mike Hughes. I think he's been better than I expected, giving his film in Minnesota.
Yes, very much so.
But I agree with you. If they're only going to have three out there, I would rather it be Fenton right now. And Fenton will lose to players too. He's by no means a perfect player.
With that aggressive style, you're going to lose a little bit.
Look what happened today, though. The Chargers came up against a physical set of corners that will press them and beat them up, and they got their butts kicked. That's what they have to have. Snead will do it. Ward will do it for the most part. He'll probably lose more man matchups even in jam than Snead will. Yeah. But Fenton is the next guy that can be physical with receivers like that. And Mike Williams is going to run all over, up, down, over the top, and sideways on this team unless you get your hands on it.
So good. I was so excited. Like, you guys remember my tweet from earlier this week? Like, I was watching the defense and I was just like, I really like Rashad Fenton. Like, he's just a good player. 6th round draft pick. Like, sometimes, man.
Yeah. Snead in the 4th, Wharton undrafted. Like, and there's always pluses and minuses. There's always a little up and down and whatever. It doesn't always go that way. Darrell, thank you for the support and Dan's live breakdown. I enjoyed that because I went back and watched it.
They were a lot of fun. I'm glad you guys were able to join me on two of them this past couple weeks. It was a lot of fun. We're definitely gonna keep it in the rotation going forward.
It's going to be big. I enjoy that. And that's why I was like, you know what? I'm just going to screenshot this thing right now at halftime. I'm going to give you guys my breakdown because then Dan can go into depth later. I'm having trouble getting all 22 that's even useful to look at for video. So we're going to supplement where we can, you guys, as we go forward. Big Chief Sean, how are you? With all the drop passes, should Mahomes pay more attention to his receivers? I don't know that it's attention. I think something changed after halftime. I think Tyreek, like what they came out and there's like, oh, he's not in the game, whatever. I don't know what the reasoning was, but when he came back. Like it looked like a new focus. I feel like something happened at halftime. I will love to find out what it was, but somebody challenged them to step up and be the team that they should be instead of this lackadaisical BS. And I think that's what changed it.
Yeah, they said something about enough's enough when they came in the locker room. Like, you have to take adversity with some level of pushback. And for this, up to this point, to the first half, they had never answered adversity in this season. They just continued to take it and take it and take it. And at some point, something has to break. And I don't know what it was. I'm just hoping it was that decision of Mahomes himself. You know, everyone coming to tell him that you just do what you have to do. In that moment, doing what he had to do was the wrong decision. I think he knows that. Like, he definitely looks back on that and he was like, I can't do that. Like, every quarterback instinctually after that kind of play, he's like, well, yeah, probably shouldn't have done that. And then you come back, everybody, you should never lose confidence in Patrick Mahomes because every single time that they've had 4 different tipped interceptions in this season, he's had 4 of them. Okay. That's ridiculous. Like, that's an insane amount. So
at some point it was 16 interceptions or turnovers in 14 interception turnovers in 16 quarters. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, the amount of turnovers that they've had this season. I tweeted out, I'm like, I don't think that it's sustainable, but right now it has been. Like, they've been able to sustain this insane amount of turnovers, and they come back, they flip a switch on offense. I know the first drive didn't look that way, but they flipped the switch. The offensive line got people moving. Patrick Mahomes started to throw some more, a little bit more jump balls. He did a little bit better of getting everybody else involved. And I think when he's locked in, everybody else can do the same thing. The offensive line locked in. I think Darrell had some good moments. I think, Travis Kelsey pushing through with the 3 or 5 different injuries he had coming into this game and sustaining in this game just shows you that this offense found a way to come together at halftime and say, look, like, we have to figure this out. And the only way to do it is if we confront ourselves and deal with it. And they did.
Yeah. It's come to Jesus moment. I don't know how else to say it. You know what I mean? And I think this was a turning point for me. Do you think I can understand people being like, don't just put your hands up and get pseudo pissed off, do something about it. And I felt like today, Tyrann, like, acting out on showing the passion that he has for this game, for this team. I think that was a positive. I think it did turn the tide. Did you take it that way?
Yeah, that's what you have to do. And I know that some people didn't exactly find it entertaining, as we all found out on Twitter later in the day. But Tyrann Mathieu, even when he explodes, like, the whole thing, he's so frustrated because he's not getting, his contract from this team right now. I would bet he's frustrated with that. But at the same time, the emotion that he has for playing for this team, at the same time of also kind of probably being a little frustrated with them, shows you that not only is he just a team guy, he wants and loves the game of football. Like, he wants to play this and be everyone to be who he's playing with, to be at their best. And when they're not, it pisses him off. Like, that kind of stuff, it just infects everybody. And the defense felt it. The offense felt it, I think, too. And that's one of the main reasons that he was brought to Kansas City, to be that type of infectious leader. And I think finally something snapped and it was able to get to everybody.
Yeah. I mean, he's in my notes multiple times, not just for that, but coming up and run support, consistent,
run support, man.
Taking on tight. He lifted Ricky off the ground.
Ooh, man, he put a shoulder into him and he just flew.
I mean, the dude's 165 pounds. Let's not forget, like I understand being frustrated with the whole situation, but let's remember what we're seeing at times. I think that's important as well. I see a lot of questions here, you guys. I have a couple of positive notes about Bolton. He sniffed out one screen in particular, thought he was great at. He also missed and got beat up in the hole again. And
Overrunning,
not being able to cut back. It's one thing if you overrun. If you're Willie, you have the chance to put your foot in the ground and get back. That's not Nick Bolton. And for everyone who was upset with me for my take in the draft cycle, now you see what I meant by the fact that he doesn't have the athleticism to get to the sidelines. He is a between the tight ends, between the hashes linebacker. If you're asking him to get there, you're going to come up short. You have to be able to protect him. And that's why the thing about Bolton in here that I have the most is he should be out there with Willie Gay. He should not be out there with Ben Niemann because you have to support Nick Bolton. He has to make the calls. He has to control the middle. You have to have someone that can run with you. And by putting Ben Niemann out there with him, it sets Nick Bolton up for failure.
Yeah, I'm hoping that maybe this week that changes a little bit. I know that knowing the defense is very important. Whether Anthony Hitchens is going to play this next week or not is still up in the air. We don't know anything about that yet. But specifically for next week, if it's not Anthony Hitchens, I think it has to be Nick Bolton. At least maybe this week, funnel him everything he needs to know. Like maybe have Mathieu take a little bit of the responsibility for that too, to help him out so you can do what you said, get Willie Gay on the field as well, so you don't have two guys athletically limited playing your nickel spots. That's a bad situation. It was already bad with Hitchens, who's not the greatest athlete either, and you're facilitating that with Ben Niemann and more Nick Bolton, which, as we saw, it just doesn't work.
No, and even when they try to get more athletic, they brought in Niemann and Sorenson because they trust them, because Spags trusts them for whatever reason I don't understand. They must be really good in meeting rooms because their play on the field does not reflect that trust. That is not earned. That is sticking with somebody because of past performance is all I can tell you. Day, thank you for your support.
Thank you.
Yeah, we all hate to see that
sucks, man.
Jody.
It sucks.
Callie, you have a good point. It is a bit of both. They played better. They righted the ship. They got some things figured out. They also played somebody who isn't, the Buffalo Bills. So the Bills, I expect to see them in the championship game. You guys can be all concerned if you want. You can burn the wagon for all you want. I think the Chiefs will still make the championship team. I think it's going to come into a slugfest with the Bills in that championship game.
Here's what I'll say. Yeah, it's an inferior opponent, but you're supposed to dominate them, right? They won 31-13, and half where they didn't play, basically. And they won going away. So, yeah, it's an inferior opponent, and they kicked the sound out of them in the second half.
And that's with you there. You guys, RGR Podcast at Gmail. That's where you can get sign up for a membership, hit that rookie or above. Draft picks are really chat oriented, folks. So if you want to get the extras, you get into the rookies, let me know and hit me with that email address and we'll get more folks into the Discord. Discord's a lot of fun. It's a private thing. It's just for our members. And there's a lot of good discussion in there, as well as a number of rants and whatnot, and some extra content as well. Again, hit me at this address, RGRpodcast at Gmail, and I'll get it to you. Jake, thank you for a big Jake. Super chat tonight. Very much appreciated. A win is a win is win. I like that. Good job, Kingdom. Sad to see Fortson out for the season, but I hope that 22 will absolutely be a breakout for him. Also, game MVP, Darrell Williams. Does Darrell get your game ball?
No, he doesn't.
Who does?
Patrick Mahomes.
Okay.
I think because as much as I think Darrell impacted in terms of finding some holes near the goal line, which is the only thing they ever want to use him for, even when Clyde is healthy, the fact that you have your best player come out in the second half and starts to dominate. Like, he was throwing the ball all over the field, completing everything. He was like 7 for 7 on third down. That is very important to the success of your team, because Darrell doesn't get there without Patrick Mahomes getting down the field. And then he's able to do what he does with an offensive line that didn't let any. He could have just set up a chair back there and looked for a hole if he wanted to at that second touchdown run. He did not get touched, and he was just like, oh, I can cut back over here. Oh, okay, I'll just go do that.
It's all available. Yeah. I love this kind of
I think that he lifted everybody up, and as much as he, probably put them down a little bit in the first half with that bad interception, he brought them all up and was able to inject that energy and inject it to everybody on the offense.
Yeah, I mean, everybody's going to have mistakes. No game is perfect. No team is perfect. But when you take the big mistakes away, the tipped interception from Tyreek and the lunacy that was, I have to throw this ball up and make something happen no matter the fact there's two guys dragging me down right now. Like, just tuck it and take the sack, Pat. And I think he's going to figure that out. You take those away, and it is the quarterback driving this team for everything else. Travis Kelsey under-heralded in this one for me. Ended up with 99 yards, you guys.
Deserves it.
And I know I wouldn't give Darrell didn't give my game ball either. You guys can check out Locked On Chiefs for that. But he was my honorable mention because I do think that he took advantage of what the line did in the first half a lot better than I've seen Clyde do so far. And really? I will caveat that only with that the line got more push in the first half. You saw what happened when they slowed down. They weren't as effective in the second half in the running game. And all of a sudden it was 2-yard carries, 3-yard carries. You disagree?
I do disagree because even with those first half runs, he was running into the back of his offensive lineman multiple times. If that's CAH in there in the first half, he goes over 100 yards in this game, not 61 with 2 touchdowns. I do believe 100% he does because he's a better mover. And I know that people say he can't cut back. Like, I don't understand where this narrative comes from. Yeah. He's done it multiple times and he does it every single game. And there were multiple holes in this game that allow him to do what he does best. And Darrell is a guy who he finds a hole and he's like, yeah, I'm going to cut through. I'm going to try to bully guys through. And I think that the difference between them for me is Clyde's not necessarily going to do that right away. He's like, I see this and I'm going to make this guy come here and I'm going to go over here. And that's where this deception or he's not a great runner and really, really comes from. So for me, I see Clyde goes over 100 yards in this game if they can actually start to do what that offensive line did, because he did it in 2 games in a row when the offensive line opened up holes for him. And that's and specifically the passing game usage. Darrell was getting so many passes in this game. Like, that's something that irritated and hurt me physically. Like, even McKinnon had 4 targets in this game. Like, what are we doing here? But it could be wrong, but I mean, I saw holes that I think Clyde takes better advantage of. But also,
I think it's a stylistic thing. Yeah, exactly.
It's a workload too.
And that's what I think both these guys are the same in that I think they need volume in order to get a rhythm going. I think Darrell's better when it's man blocking up front. I think Clyde's better when it's zone blocking up front. I think it's very simple in terms of vision versus, like you said, hitting the hole. But at the end of the day, they both need touches. They need that feel. And well, Andy gave it to Darrell, and it's been a little bit more for Clyde the last couple of games. I don't think that's still enough. I think 20 carries ought to be whoever the lead back is that day needs that kind of volume in order to get it really going.
Yeah, and for everyone saying that he might not get the 2 touchdowns, if he was the goal line back, if he was in goal line, Clyde would have 100% gotten both those touchdowns, especially the second one where Darrell didn't get touched at all. So
and on that second one, kudos to Noah Gray. I know I mentioned him earlier, guys.
Man,
Noah had a great block on Chase Young on that play. I will try to get the 22 for that, knock on wood. Hopefully the touchdowns will look halfway decent on Game Pass. I have no idea. We'll find out. But Jake, thank you for that. Kelsey was my MVP, just for the record.
Yeah, but wait, going through all those injuries, man, it was tough.
Yeah. Stevie, thanks for sharing some of it with us. But evidently, Stevie won the picks pool because Aaron sent him the money. So that's good. Picks pool is between our crew, you guys. Get into the memberships and you can start seeing those as they make picks. Danilo's in there as well. So a little flash back and forth. Big Jack, thank you again. Also looked like Nick Bolton was pretty solid against the run. He made a lot of tackles. Yeah, I mean, he did have a few tackles. He did have some sporadic plays where I thought he performed pretty well, but it was very hit and miss for me.
Yeah, that's what he's going to be. If he gets it in there quickly enough, he's probably going to make a play. If he has to think for a second, he's probably not going to.
It's like he's a rookie linebacker, folks. He's going to be all right. And is there a status I don't know about?
I know he got hurt early in the game, but he came back and played. So.
Okay, that's what I thought. I thought maybe I missed something post-game or whatever. Because, folks, I've been up and down the mountain a couple of times a day with kids' events and that kind of thing. We've covered a lot of my topics. I want to make sure that I don't miss any. I'm working on 2 laptops here. Leon, when Ben Neiman going to be more on the field today?
More on the,
I have no idea because Spags is stubborn. That's literally in my notes here as well. There's just no reason for it.
I think mid-game with the injury, it made more sense to plop him in there as the green dot since he's been – the experienced guy doing it. So that's probably what Spags was like. He's been doing it before, so we're going to have him do it again, even though I'm going to put 2 guys that aren't athletes on the field at the same time. Yeah. We've seen how that works in the past.
Yeah, hopefully they learn from that too. Kudos to the staff for making some adjustments that were overdue but still needed. Hopefully they can continue that trend.
Yes.
Jerry, when the eye side
when inside the 10, when not throw a jump ball to Gordon in the corner of the end zone for a touchdown.
I mean, Gordon's good. I wouldn't call him a jump ball specialist. Like he's good at contested catches, but I don't know that I'm like, here, go leap for it in particular. But you can throw into very, very tight windows with him because he will win the ball.
Yeah.
I would let DeMarcus do it. I would let Kelsey do it. If Jody hadn't got hurt, he would be my number one target. I would literally throw it to the crossbar every time, either at the midpoint or at one of the poles. Go get a Jody. We're done.
Jody, Kelsey, D-Rob. I would let Pringle do it. Like there are guys that you can have that they've had on this team for years to do this with, and Andy's like, no.
Yeah. What I want to see is a sluggo from Gordon.
Yes.
I want to see the slants. I want to see the deep ends, the things where a guy's contact on him, but his contact strength is much more so than anybody on that list but Kelsey. And that's when he will win the ball for you. And I think that's needed for this offense as well. Yep. Thank you, Jerry. Alex Thornhill clearly made the big difference. I completely agree with you. Thank you for the support.
Very much.
Josh, take this one, Dan. I want to make sure and scan
Josh.
My notes here.
All right, so Pringle makes a big play every game. He typically finds a way to if he's not fumbling the ball on kick returns. Super impressed with some of the little guys in this game. Fenton, Wharton, Darrell, and Bobby Simcoe. Just kidding. I don't know who that is. I'm not going to lie. I'm sorry, guys. What was the take?
Bobby Scipio?
I don't know who that is. The take on the team's
That's because you're young.
This is because I'm young. So, yeah, I think that you're not wrong with the Pringle thing. That I loved seeing him get that fade on the sideline. That was very nice for me to see. Yeah, so Fenton and Wharton. Let's talk about Wharton's interception for a second. That was one of the most impressive interceptions I've ever seen from a defensive lineman. He just puts his hand up and palms it out of the air and just is like, my ball.
It was good as Russo's last week, right?
It was better because Russo had to tip it up. He just grabbed it out of the air. So, yeah, that was so awesome. So, yeah, the second team of the second half was one of the best halves of football they've played this whole season. It was the most complete and had the most effort, and they were just this 2 drives of 95-plus yards in this game.
Yeah.
2 of them.
It's impressive.
That's huge for the confidence of this offense.
And I'll tell you the other thing about that play in particular. Wharton got that at defensive end.
Mm-hmm. Yes, so, he's played quite a bit of defensive in the last couple games.
A little bit more confident there. Like for those of you that are screaming for Chris Jones to go back to tackle,
this is why.
That has to happen because I'm really happy with Dana.
Yes.
But Dana is a motor pressure guy. He is not a break off the edge, whereas Wharton has a little bit more explosiveness to him, where if you have to have somebody that beats to the outside shoulder, he can actually do that a little bit more.
I Colin Saunders on the edge too a little bit.
Right, dude. Give me Colin Saunders at linebacker. I am
right
not
now,
kidding. Blitz that.
Play him at all 3 positions. Play him at all 3 positions if you have to. Find a way to get him on the field. I don't care.
You guys go look up the concept, the old 46 defense from the Bears back in the day. They used to leave a bubble on purpose because Otis Wilson would go crush whatever came in there. That's what you do with Colin Saunders. 330 pounds off-ball linebacker and just attack that gap all day.
Oh, they might be able to do that this week against the Titans with Derrick Henry coming to town.
Yep.
Or we're going there.
Be happy.
I see it.
I thought Mike Remmers held his own pretty well. He got bowled a couple of times as we've seen him do.
That's going to happen with Chase Young.
I don't think he earned the job in its entirety. Did you?
We're gonna really see what happens if this injury from Lucas Niang is real or not, because he was a full practice participant all week. So them just kind of sliding in that, oh, he's not going to start because of his injury, then make it so on the injury report. Make him a limited practice participant. Make him questionable for the game. Say, okay, we're gonna have Remmers play because Niang can't do it. Don't have him be a full practice participant all week and then say at the very last second, okay, we're gonna have Remmers play instead. That for me tells me that they're a little bit shaky in confidence of the player.
Fair enough.
And you may not agree with that, and that's fine. But if Remmers is starting next week, that's exactly what happened.
Yeah, I can see that. I hope that it is a physical thing and they just want to let him take a breather and get back to full capacity so they don't put him in a bad situation. That's fine with me. D-Money, I can't put your super chat up. I scrolled too far, my friend. I'm sorry. But you asked a great question. Can they still win the West? Chargers lost today, folks. Nothing is lost. The Oakland flush me down the Vegas toilet Raiders are not going to be in the pocket very much longer.
Oh, man. That game was so bad.
if you weren't playing the Broncos, I would say they would have both lost. But what are you going to do? The West is still there to be had. You
Wide
have
open.
to go. You have to take care of Mike Williams.
They're only one game back.
Exactly. Mike Williams for me is the turning point. Keenan Allen, you still don't scare me, bro. But Mike Williams, you have to take care of him. You have to come up with something or someone that can body and physical him and take him out of that game, because he's been the turning point for going on 3 seasons now in these matchups.
That's what he is. Like and they're unlocking him this year. He's running all the routes. He's doing all the slants, and they're actually using him to his abilities, which is something that the former staff had never done. So congratulations to the Chargers. They got himself a real one that we all thought Mike Williams was going to be coming out of Clemson. And now he's really turning it on. So they got to be more physical with him. Granted, he was hurt in this game, so that might have also hampered him a little bit. But let's talk about Justin Herbert. Just kind of, he looked lost in this game.
Yeah, I don't know what they were doing to him. I'd love to see.
I haven't seen the game, so yeah, I need to see what was going on, because he just looked like he hasn't looked his entire career. Like,
I'm guessing that's more on the defense than them changing up the offense. So, folks, remember this game, Week 6. This is something to look at what they did to him in order to have that in the back of your head for later. I know the staff will be doing that, so will I. William, thank you for your super chat again. On the busted coverage TD, I couldn't see the pre-snap alignment. I think that was that the one that they cut to it like right away or whatever? Like
I couldn't see what happened with the pre-snap coverage. They just were.
In function, you could call it a cover 2, William, in that there were supposed to be 2 deep safety, 2 halves, deep halves, right? I don't know that you'd call it a cover 2 because it looked like it should have been either Hughes dropping, like it was a replacement drop is what it was. And whoever was supposed to do it didn't.
Yeah.
And then everybody bit on
that
the
fake.
I mean, bad things happen when everyone makes the same mistake. I'll just tell you that. But, hopefully when we see the 22 from it, go back and watch that again. And when we get the 22, we'll take another look at it. Patty, thank you very much for the super sticker.
Thank you, Patty.
And it looks like Avery had a good point. Let me see if I just scroll past it. Let me get back here. It is interesting to see, because this is a whole different way to attack them next week. Can they now switch it around and attack the run? And I'm certainly not kidding about Colin Saunders playing off the ball.
I'm not either. I would seriously play him, not just defensive end. I'd play him at defense tackle, play him at linebacker a little bit. You need some kind of ability to change direction if you're going to play, especially if you're going to play more Ben Neiman. You have to have someone out there that can change a little bit. So if you have Neiman, you get Gay out there, maybe switch up Bolton and Saunders a little bit, just to get a little different. Come on, Spags. It would be fun. It would be fun. He would love to play it because he's still talking about it from last year. So come on, just please.
Yeah, he's still tweeting it out. I love that. Avery, good point. It's going to be tough in the Bills. Yeah, well, yeah. A lot of this I see in the chat, you guys. Don't be too hard on Gordon yet. He's had to learn a lot of offenses over the years. I think it has taken a little bit each time. I think this is just about, if you want to see an ineffectual wide receiver, plug a guy into the read offense and make sure that he hasn't learned it yet. Then you won't see anything happen. Hence McCole Hardman for the last 3 years. But that brings me to McCole, because I thought not only last week in terms of tenacity, but this week in terms of making tough plays.
That catch, man.
I thought McCole is stepping up. He's not getting as many open routes. Like, he's not separating enough for me to make it be like Patrick has to throw it to him. I think he'll get there. But I see progress from him. Am I wrong?
I think he would have scored a touchdown. He didn't get tripped up.
Yep.
They tripped him up, and he was going to run to that ball. If Nevera not get his fingertips on it, he was going to be very close. And we're seeing this week that he's being used downfield a little bit more. Mm-hmm. In the first 5 weeks, they used him on a lot of these pitch plays and just get the ball to him quickly. They're now starting to break out some of the deep shots. And that one-on-one on the outside is the stepping stone for me. McCole Hardman, a one-on-one on the outside, you can win that matchup sometimes, and you're going to find ways to get in the ball. Next time, he scores that. And, I mean, the safety is not always going to be right there. And he did a great job of catching it, breaking that tackle. Just that's it.
Okay,
I love that.
Enough. Croc, thank you. I'm glad you enjoyed that. Raiders fans, that's for Derek personally, just so you know. And Pono, I get what you're saying. Yes, the fair catch was just situational awareness and not knowing where he is that he continues to do. I'm sure Dave Toub jumped down his throat for that, and he should. That was inexcusable. The fumble, yes, not the best thing, but for everybody else that's coughing up the ball.
Byron Pringle's done it 2 weeks in a row, and no one said any boo about it.
I know, and there's something in the water. Something changed at Arrowhead. I don't know what's going on.
I think we all know what happened.
But Josh Gordon isn't the answer for that particular role. You put Josh in the slot, he can do a few things, but he can't do what McCole can do. So I know it's frustrating. Give it some time. We're going to keep going. Any last thoughts from you, Dan?
So, yeah, we talked a little bit about Mike Dan. I think he's been one of the most consistent and the best defensive players the Chiefs have had all season. And I know that we're going to talk about how this is not a good team right now. The footballs are a bad team, guys. Like, they're not very good. But you have to beat the bad teams that you play. Last year, they didn't do that. They let those teams stay close. And this showing a little bit of when they were up 24-13, okay? Typically, Andy Reid, and you saw a little bit on the very first part of that drive, he hands the ball off twice. It goes almost nowhere, and then Mahomes has to bail him out. But then things changed. They threw the ball more on first down. They threw it a little bit more, let Mahomes kind of take over. That, for me, is what I'm taking away from this whole game, is because in those moments, you have an ability to actually step on the throat and beat a team. They did it, and they went down, and they scored a touchdown. That not only mentally can unlock some things for the entire team, because they haven't done it in 2 years, put a team away like that. They haven't been able to do it.
Well, and they did it at the same time by still running for 25 called runs. So it's not like because they went away from it on first down that they didn't go back to it. That's the key. Because that's what Andy does is he's like, oh, too predictable on first, can't run it. And well, then he never goes back to it. Yeah. Because play action, folks, it doesn't matter whether you're running well or not, play action works. We've shown that through statistics. That's what the numbers show. And so I love play action on first and then come back and run it. As long as you're in, a plus yardage situation, 6 or less to go. Don't run it on second down when you got nothing on first down. That just doesn't make any sense. So I think we're going there. We got 2 more super chats, and we're going to wrap it up because I only have one other thing that is in my notes that I need to get apart. The Browns are falling apart. Yeah, you know what?
That defense is bad.
When you're strung together by duct tape and baling wire, I mean, I've had trucks like that. They don't last, folks. That's the way that it goes.
I can't say I have, but I imagine it doesn't work.
Dude, I have trucks that are older than you, so stop. Stevie, thank you very much. Juicy Stevie. 12 months of official membership, Frankie.
Man.
I appreciate all of you guys. It's been great, and I love the membership part of it because it condenses us and it lets everybody talk more. You guys want to get into the Discord, so join the memberships and you can join what goes on behind the scenes as well as what we do here. Dan, thank you for subbing in for me all week. You did a great job running this place.
It was fun. I'm glad you guys were able to join me with it, and I'm glad to have you back because for right now, at least, it's just a little tiny spurts. And I can do it.
Okay, good. You're not getting rid of me yet, so that's good. We got one more, and I don't want to leave anybody out. So, William, thank you again for the support. Why isn't he even wearing the green dot? Could be oh no, oh God, no. Darren Sorensen is not somebody you want to give more than one assignment to. I'm just going to put it that way.
Even that one assignment is too much for him at times.
Mostly, yes. Thank you, guys. You have a great night. We'll be back tomorrow, Q&A at 6 p.m. Central. If you're new here, like, sub, hit the bell, and make sure you come back tomorrow night where we will answer all of your questions. Y'all have a nice one. Enjoy Sunday Night Football, and we'll talk to you tomorrow.